Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. Are you marketing a product or service and you want it to explode? Well, Dhaval Patel is going to help me to do exactly that. We have a new product here at vastsolutionsgroup.com. We're going to be blowing it up, making it huge, and you're going to see him think and real time help us to make this a big deal. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Excited. I am going to be in for a surprise because I don't know what's going on either. Let's see how this works.
Yeah, I love this because you're getting in real time. You're going to be helping us to launch this new product service. People are going to see how you think, and really, who knows? Maybe giving us advice that's going to help us make this big product helpful for so many entrepreneurs. How does that all sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. Let's hop in.
All right, first of all, the product or service that we have, it's called AI Credit Max. AI Credit Max. And we put on exclamation point at the end of Max. Basically what it is if people are using artificial intelligence or pushing the envelope as far as innovation, people don't realize the government gives them money via federal tax credits and sometimes even, believe it or not, even state tax credits. And a lot of people are using technology that could be getting them pretty easily tax credits, both federal and state. So I'll give an example. Let's say you're coming out with a new product or service using ChatGPT, maybe a new cool marketing platform. The government would potentially be giving you money back. And that's what we're going to be doing. It's helping to get entrepreneurs money in their pocket for something they're already doing, basically. Make sense?
Yeah, totally. So how can I help guide this process and help you with what you need with marketing?
Okay, we're just now coming out with a product. We just actually made it come out in beta 1.0. We have a website at vastsolutionsgroupai.com. Again, vastsolutionsgroupai.com, which is different from our normal website, which is vastsolutionsgroup.com. But basically, we want to send people to that website. There's 3 different kind of products, I should say, really services / product. One of which is basically, it's going to be automated, right? Completely automated. And the second and third product or service is going to need some human interaction. But more than anything, we want to send people to that website. Our company, as you know, has been around since 1969. I took over in 2006. And it's now, we do tax, finance, and artificial intelligence to help business owners to, well, hopefully lower their tax liability and live very well because they've saved money based on the tax liability we've reduced. So what we need help on for the next, 45 minutes is ways to get people to that website, really make this product, this service explode, because we really, truly believe it will help the modern day entrepreneur who's trying new stuff as far as innovation. We want them to get their tax credits that they do deserve.
Yep. So first and foremost, when I look at a company, much like yours, I determine, is this B2C? Is this B2B? I think we could fairly say that this is B2B. So yes. Your number one goal is to get as many leads as possible. So with that being said, your website has to have an opportunity for people to collect emails. And I know you have that. And once you collect emails, to get them in the right drip campaigns and segmentation appropriate to nurture them as leads, right? So you want to close business as soon as possible, right? I think there's a number of tools you can use. I think it's up to the individual to figure out what CRM works best for them. I use MailChimp, Constant Contact works. There's a ton of tools out there. That's not as important. I think you can vet that out and you can figure out what works. What's most important is to get people to that lander so that you could collect emails. And there's a number of ways you could do that. Social media. I think for a B2B, you want to focus on LinkedIn. You want to focus on really highly targeted Facebook ads. And beyond that, I wouldn't drop much further into X or TikTok. I mean, TikTok, that's a whole different conversation. But I wouldn't dip too much further into social media beyond LinkedIn and Facebook. get an ad campaign set up, figure out who your target audience is, and then drive them to that lander, test, figure out what works, make sure you're driving down your cost per click, make sure that you're targeting the right people, and that your sales team, or say you're your own sales team, you're informing all the ads, right? So you're making sure that they're high quality, that they're closing, that they're converting. That would be step number one, right? So we've talked about email and social media and advertising all in one fell swoop. Secondarily, and I would say just as important in many ways, is to focus on a content marketing strategy that is SEO optimized, that has a keyword strategy in place. So say your business is, you're selling pet food, right? You want to be the number one pet food seller out there. You want to rank for the terms cat food, dog food, parrot food, whatever what have you, right? So SEO, AEO, as we talked about in the last episode as well, is going to be very important to the core of your business and generating those leads. So just a quick refresh: email, social media, SEO. And then finally, it's just on the ground marketing. You might even need to invest in direct mailers that involve QR codes. Your goal is to get everybody to that lander where you can get leads collected, basically.
Yeah. So thank you very much. That was very helpful. By the way, before I forget, how do people get a hold of you if they're interested in seeing whatever you're going to do for us, if you could do for them real quick?
Yeah. dogooddigital.com, DOGOODIGITAL.com, and email. I like personal email. I don't really send it to my business email. So dbpatel83@gmail.com.
Can you repeat that one more time?
dbpatel83@gmail.com. And I'm sure you'll have it in the link in bio.
We will. Thank you. Okay. So the answer to your question is yes, we have a website. And by the way, it's already, I don't know how, we're getting people who are going there right off the bat. So maybe the AEO, Ask Engine Optimization, or the, SEO is working, because, man, we're getting more people there than our normal website. Which is
it might be that audit I ran for you guys as well. So
yeah, there you go. There you go. So, and the answer to your question is, as far as our database, we use our own. It's called Einstein, because we have our own CRM. Very luckily, we've put it together over years of doing artificial intelligence, which we've been doing for years. Which that's why we're going to be so good at this product, because we've been doing this product for years. Where we're helping clients to lower their tax liability by using, tax credits, et cetera, because we've been doing artificial intelligence. But now, so we have on that lander, as you call it, we have a section where people could go into the website. Basically, it's a quiz asking them a number of questions. And out of those questions, they'll see if they would qualify for tax credits, because we want them to be able to see that, yeah, they could potentially be, getting some money back from the government, number one. And then number two, yes, we do kind of trade that for their email address. And then so we could continually follow up with them. So as far as Facebook, so far our marketing, I'm opening the drape so you can see our marketing right now. We are involved with a number of different, what's called masterminds. If you know what a mastermind is, for the people who are out there, kind of grouping of people with similar interests. And in this one, we do a lot of tech, or number one, or number two, a lot of clients are, real estate investors. So people are luckily opening up their community for us to go in there and not market, but provide a service, so they know, meaning the community leader and also the people in the community know that, if they want to come to anyone to learn about research and development tax credits, we're the candidate. And then also we have a community of on our platform called the Vast Vault, where now we're going to let them know that, hey, wait a minute, we have this product, we have this service for you guys. And then we have over 600 people in that community. And at the same time, yes, we have thought about doing Facebook ads as an example. So we're thinking of it as a 3-pronged approach. And then also we're going to start marketing locally, because there's a lot of people who are on our island, on Bainbridge Island, Washington, who really should be getting these tax credits. So it's kind of a 4-pronged approach as it relates to marketing this new product or service as we see it.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting. You're getting 2 tiers of data. You're inputting, or you're getting the data from Facebook ads telling you who you need to target based on your business. And then additionally, because you have Einstein embedded on this landing page, you're finding out really quickly if they're even qualified to send to your sales department, or, to close as a deal. I think that's ideal. And a lot of businesses should integrate some form of AI onto their lander, to get that intel.
That's an example.
Yeah,
Go
you'd have to
ahead.
call back in the day, right? Like now you could get that in real time with AI.
And by the way, you just mentioned something. A lot of people are using AI in their business. So a lot of people don't realize, again, they don't realize they could be getting back money from the government for implementing it. And when I say that, tax credits, both federal and state, you know what I mean? So as far as social media and, becoming the authority. So what would you say is the best way to do that? Again, we're launching this live basically. So what's the best way to do that when our normal company is vastsolutionsgroup.com? What's a good way to get the word out social media wise, and then also kind of the written words who are the authority?
Lean into the ease of use, lean into the use of AI, lean into how your clients can get immediate results, right? They're not going to have to wait a week to figure out how they can reduce their tax liability, right? And have a lander that shows how Einstein in real time, like an explainer video or something, can reduce tax liability. I think people want to see how it works, right? It's easy to throw out that catchphrase AI. But if you have a landing page that literally like shows in real time how your product works and how it's going to reduce their tax liability, I think you go a long way towards convincing them that this is a useful product. Specifically with social media ads, I think using video and having a very compelling call to action and having a really compelling use case for what you're doing and how you're doing it for reducing tax liability for businesses is important to provide off the bat. Don't be obscure. Don't be vague. Don't just use AI as a catch-all. Show them how the AI works.
Well, we don't have much of our following, like on Instagram, it's like, I don't know, 15,000. We have, like I mentioned, 600 people in our community. And I think we have like 12, I don't know how many now, 12, 15,000 people in our database that we can mail out. But what's some other ways we can leverage social media? I mean, should we use a micro influencer as an example, or what would you suggest in that?
First off, think beyond just Instagram. So LinkedIn, I think, is a huge opportunity. I know cost per lead is a lot higher and reaching people is a lot harder, but you're going to get qualified people if you target for entrepreneurs. And going back to your last point about, repeat that one last point. It was about,
what else should I forgot about mentioning LinkedIn. What else should we do to leverage, I don't know, micro influencers as an example? Because we need to get that. I want to get this name out because some people are doing their taxes now. And so when they're doing their taxes, this is something they could be missing. By the way, I should note, Dhaval, we can go back 3 years sometimes and get tax credits that they should have gotten that their CPA tax professional did not. So look, it's timely. I want to get the word out now.
Yep. So if you are leveraging micro influencers, the number one way to reel them in is to give them free access to your product or service. If you're a restaurant, give them free sandwiches and have them do a video. If you're an AI company that's helping people reduce their tax liability, do that service for them and have them become evangelists. So basically what you want to do is reach out to people with under 20,000 followers who do operate businesses, online businesses, all kinds of businesses. Have them use your product for free, right? Give them that free intel, give them their estimate, give them their audit on how they've spent less on taxes, and use them as evangelists, basically. Have them do an explainer video or have them like talk about how great your product or solution is. I think that's going to go a long way towards convincing their community. So you think about all like the business coaches, the life coaches, they all have their own businesses and they're all leading other people and encouraging them to start their own businesses, right? So it's trickle down. You're giving them the tools to then share with their community.
That is a good point. And say, hey, and then they'll tell people get more Google reviews for that specific product/service, which will be a big thing.
Yeah, and just think about everything that's education as a service. Like the guy at your gym who's teaching, the guy on your feed that's at the gym every day teaching other people how to work out and start their own gym businesses, or the mommy blogger who's teaching people how to crochet and start their own businesses. It all trickles down. Everybody's ultimately looking at these as examples of starting their own business. You know, they're not just there saying, I want to learn how to crochet. They're like, how do I start my own business? I'm creative. There's a big segment of those people that are part of those niches too.
You bring up a good point. And, if you really think about it, because CPAs can't do some of the stuff that we do because of our technical capabilities. So CPAs can also provide some business referrals to us, and we've got to get in some of those communities as well. And I would think they could potentially drive some business to us. And they have whatever typical CPA might have 500 clients. I'm sure at least whatever couple hundred might need some of our services.
Well, think about me, and we talk about this nonstop. I always ask for advice. I'm a photographer. I do it for fun, but you've taught me ways to do it for fun and reduce my tax liability and learn how to like scale and build a business with my photography, right? So I think ultimately what we're all learning is we have all these hobbies, and now we're seeing people on our social feeds making money from these hobbies. And there's a big segment of people who'll be like, I don't want to make money. But there's a huge segment that are like, I love doing this and I need the extra money, so I'm going to start a business. And what better way to start a business than to already understand how to reduce your tax liability in a moral, ethical way, as you always mentioned.
Yeah. So then, okay, all right. So then what are some, I was reading about backlinks. So it sounds like rolling this out would be awesome, especially if we could get on some websites or podcasts, or whatever, and then them to provide backlinks to us. First, can you go into and define what a backlink is, and then give us some ideas to make it so we could get some cool backlinks?
Yeah, backlinks are like votes online, right? And as we've seen through elections recent and in the past, the more influential someone is, the more their vote counts per se, because they could basically encourage more people to vote, or they have so much authority that their vote just like is a voice, right? So say you have a photography set like I do, and I hyperlink to the New York Times or some other like publication that has high domain authority being the relevance and the traffic that the site gets. So it's on a scale of 0 to 100. A site like mine has a domain authority of like 35 to 40. New York Times is like close to 100, meaning they are the most relevant site on the web, or at least the top 100. For me to link to them, they don't get much value, right? I hyperlink the phrase photography, digital photography, and I hyperlink to them. It doesn't even blip on their radar. Whereas if they were to write an article that said digital photography, had digital photography in the text, and were to link it back to mine, I would get thousands of hits, because Google is then being alerted to basically being alerted that my site is relevant, because why would such a popular site link to me? And it's going to drive a lot of traffic just naturally that way. So your goal is to get as many backlinks from reputable sites as possible, right? So if I'm writing a blog, and it's very topical, say it's on, AI tools for taxes, right? I would love to get a hyperlink from your site, or even a site like TurboTax, right? Even though it's not as relevant, they don't have the right solution, just to show Google that, hey, look, I am writing relevant topics on taxation and taxes and how to do your own taxes, and these sites are linking to me. So then I will naturally gain traction with that keyword that I've hyperlinked, or that's been hyperlinked back to me.
So when you were talking,
it's easier to diagram this, and maybe we could.
No, I get it. I get it. What you know what? The way my brain works, I'm thinking basically what you're saying is the internet, or in this case, our website, is like in high school. Really, what we want is to be the popular brand, the popular kid, and for people to come hang out with us. And in that case, well, New York Times, we want them to come hang out with us. What's one way they would hang out with us? Well, be a backlink, point people to us. Yeah, I get it. That's an interesting thought. Okay.
Hey, check out this guy. You've never heard of him. Hang out with him. And then everybody gets driven there through an algorithm, basically.
I understand. So then what's one way I can get, as an example, the New York Times to come hang out with us, and for us to be the popular kid as it relates to what we're talking about here, AI credit max?
Well, let's step back from the New York Times, because they won't respond to your email.
Okay, good point. Yeah.
Let's talk about like the Seattle Times, right? Say if you wanted a backlink from them, which is still super valuable, you could cold email them, right? You could find out who the webmaster is. You could find out who uploads these blogs, these posts, these articles. And you could also cold call them. That's the least effective. But what you want to do is get in front of them and find out who's writing the articles, who's in charge of writing the articles. That's one way. Another way you could do it is to get a link broker, someone like me who knows a lot of people, who can get you links to specific niches. And it's all ethical. We're not just throwing links left and right. Is your article relevant, and will they want to link? We're just putting that in front of people, the opportunity to link.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could just buy links and all that stuff. It doesn't work that way anymore. Google penalizes sites that do that. It's very apparent. So now you want to have the most organic way possible to get links. And that's through a link broker or through cold emails automation.
Very cool. Very good. By the way, I don't know if this is a thing or not. You ever heard of Yext? Y-E-X-T?
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
We just signed, and maybe I did the wrong thing, but through our Einstein, we somehow connected them to our Einstein, and somehow all of our links goes out through Yext, which I don't even know what it is, and it tells everyone, like Better Business Bureau, whatever, some Chicago newspapers as an example, other kind of websites, Yelp as an example, that we are out there. But I don't really know what it does. But it seems like that might be kind of like what you're talking about. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the yellow pages. It is like the newswire as well. So if you have a newswire or a press release you get out, they can help you get more eyes to it. And I think it's a valuable service, but you could do it in-house too. There's a number of ways.
I understand. By the way, is that a service you provide, something like
Yes.
Yext?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I could cut out the middleman. I could cut out. It's like having a representative for the yellow pages say, "Hey, we put your name in this directory." It's not always effective. It sometimes it's a waste of time. If you have someone on it in-house, or if you've hired someone as a consultant that focuses on that, you're going to get better results.
Yeah, and you're right, because we're supposed to be updating it all the time, and it right there, it seems like it worked. But then again, who knows? Maybe if they could get the word out about our new product or service, it would make sense. But
step one, get rid of Yext. Step two, let me do it.
There you go. But it's only, by the way, it is only $30 a month.
Yeah, exactly. So if you could use the cost savings, or it is effective for you, then by all means. If you're finding that Yext is not valuable, then yeah, find alternatives.
But I see what you're saying. But also, you would be able to be the one who could do all the drafting on whatever every other day, or however you're supposed to update it, because supposedly you're supposed to be updating.
And you could also have a strategy by which you get on Google News. You get your site optimized for Google News, and every article you put out there goes on the newswire.
And you do that?
Could do that.
Oh, nice.
You want to be very careful on what you put on the newswire, though, because if it's irrelevant, you're going to get pushed down. So save your best articles or your most relevant articles. So say there's a new tax policy with the new administration, and you have things to say that are relevant to your AI tax software that can help your clients, then yeah, put it out there. Say Trump's new tax plan is out. This is how Einstein AI can help you under this administration, blah, 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 right? I just threw something out there. That could go on Google News. That could blow up. You could have thousands of leads within an hour if something really blows up on the newswire.
Yeah, I get it. So remember how I said, earlier that, we have someone who's local, just doing kind of, I'll say community outreach as an example. Believe it or not, we've never marketed on our island. I live on Bainbridge Island, as a reminder, and we've never marketed. When people ask me what I do, I don't tell them. I'm just whatever, for whatever reason. But now the thought is, well, again, we have a very innovative island. People are really trying to push the envelope as far as technology. A lot of former Microsoft, top Google people, and a lot of them should be getting these tax credits. So she's brand new, literally brand new. What do you think we should do to get the word out with her on our island and regions a little bit beyond?
Have her reach out
to this product and service.
Yeah, have her reached out to the local papers.
Yep.
I'm sure Bainbridge Island has their own newspaper, right? That has a digital form. Yep. I'm sure that's an easy win. And then go to the Seattle Times, maybe even eventually go to GeekWire. Just think really local, because all your other marketing is global, because you have businesses all over the place, right? But if you're just focused on your niche, say you just want to serve your greater Seattle area, then yeah, reach out to all the publications, have her do that.
Yep.
Cold email or call, or just, I think Seattle's such a small place where you could just find out who runs what, LA might be a tougher sell. Obviously, there's just so much going on, but Seattle, I lived there for 2 years. I've met publishers, editors. I know editors at GeekWire, by the way, if you need. So let me know. I'm sure you do too, though.
You do know a lot of people. That's a huge advantage. And I would think a huge service that you do, because you know a lot of people. And if you can help, open the door, because you're the popular kid, that would end up helping our popularity based on what you're saying, like what you mentioned about backlinks.
I'm the dorky kid that knows everybody. Definitely not popular. I guess there's popularity therein, right?
That was actually funny.
Yeah.
All right. So then jumping off from local backlinks, Google. So as we met, like SEO, actually for the first time ever went below 90%, or not ever, but first time in a long time. SEO, specifically search for Google numbers, have gone down below 90%, first time ever, from what I understand, or from in a long time. So, and I'm a big believer in AEO because AEO utilizes large language models, and really, really ultimately that points to AI working out, because now people are writing stuff, if you will, that will be found on ChatGPT as an example, Gemini, Claude, etc. So what are your thoughts? I know we've talked about it a little bit. What are your thoughts about kind of making our website and making our written word, our articles, more for AEO than I would have yesteryear? Because yesteryear I would have just done SEO stuff, meta links, tags, etc.
Yeah, we talked about this on a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
FAQs, question-based, query-based. These are going to rank. There's also plugins. If you're using WordPress, there's an FAQ plugin. That's how important it is now, because you are answering questions. You're no longer informing people. You're just answering questions as a business.
Mm-hmm.
You're not selling a business. They're finding you by asking, I have this problem. How do I solve it? Whereas before, you were in their face and you were like, hey, I have a solution for a problem you don't even know exists. They know all their problems and they're asking all the questions right now. So everything on your site should be FAQ based. On the footer of your homepage, you should have your FAQs. If they can't figure out what your site's about in like 10 seconds, you're gone.
Actually, now what we've done is, again, we're brand new. It's at beta 1.0, but we're going to change it. But basically what we've done is the first section, it says, AI credit max, again, exclamation point, take the quiz, and then it's FAQ, because we want to be found on whatever ChatGPT or, Gemini, Claude, et cetera, et cetera. We want to be found very quickly. And I think the way I look at it is we're early on. We're really early on. No one's really doing that to the extent they should, especially locally.
Yeah. And then you're spot on. And I think you should continue to do that. Even in your social media copy, have questions. They're pulling from Instagram now. Meta, like all your stuff on Instagram and all your social channels is being pulled onto Google, because it's all pulling the meta descriptions, keywords, all that, right? So in your questions on your in your captions, you should be asking questions. Ever wondered, ever wanted to reduce your tax liability in 5 seconds? I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but you're asking questions that people are asking.
Yeah. And I've been now, as you know, I'm social media, not illiterate, but close. And I'm very social media shy, but now I'm starting to get into it. But I'm learning that, the hook is really important. And just like you're saying, I guess, and you're reminding me that you got to answer the question. It's got to be quickly, and then support it with information thereafter.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, well, I shouldn't even ask this, but I will. What are your thoughts about buying, as an example, I guess they call it promotions on YouTube? What are your thoughts there?
I don't really do it. If it works for your business, go for it. I never like buying. I like collaborating. I like working with influencers, or if it's in the description where it's like, click the link below, at least having a really big disclaimer as to like how you're affiliated with the business.
Mm-hmm.
I think affiliate marketing could be done right. And there's a lot of bad ways people are doing it. And I think the consumer now is very aware of scams and schemes, or a lack of transparency. And you've always prided yourself in authenticity, which is why we work together and we work well. Mm-hmm. And I think that will continue to be the case, right?
I understand. So you've mentioned a couple times, or a couple ways that where, you could have helped us, as an example, the EX thing, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Let's make a mini commercial about you. So give me some things that can, how do you work with people and what you're doing?
Yeah. I started my career in digital marketing, doing primarily SEO, when the landscape was a lot easier to rank for terms. There weren't ask engines. There wasn't ChatGPT. It was all Google. You'd pump out a query and the top 10 results would pop up. No one would go beyond page 1. And being in the top 3 meant your business was killing it or it was mediocre. So my job was to get people ranking in the top 3. The way I did that was through SEO, which was building backlinks and quality content that Google would deem relevant. Had a lot of success doing that over the last 12 years, over the last 3 years, really modified the approach because of AI. And now we're asking questions. We're doing all the things I just mentioned to do on your website. On top of that, you have to have ads. You have to be vocal on social, and you have to have a big email list. So it used to be you could do one thing and drive so much business, right? Now you have to do everything. And on top of that, you have to remarket. On top of that, you have to find new ways because it's continually evolving. And I think there's going to be the floodgates are going to be really open in the coming years because of AI. We don't even know how marketing is going to look. We don't know how we're going to interact with the AI to get business, right? Everything's changing so rapidly. It's important to stay atop of things. And I think thus far, we're at the cutting edge, but I'm continually pushing the needle to be at the cutting edge as AI evolves.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, people used to laugh at me. I don't know if you were in this boat, but people would laugh at me because I was nerdy doing AI stuff. Now I'm kind of the cool guy at the party. I like that. Oh.
Yeah, of course. That's how I felt my whole life. And I still feel nerdy.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you're the cool guy at the party. All right. So press releases. We have not done a press release for this. Obviously, I think, we did a press release when we kind of joined and did a strategic alliance with a law firm because now we're a part of the vast assetdefense.com network. Press releases haven't really worked for us. They're kind of hit or miss. Do you think we should do a press release, kind of an old school traditional press release that then is sent out to all the news wires, if you will?
I have a network and I could get you that viewership. I could get the eyes on to the right crowd, right? I mean, eyes on your press release to the right crowd. So I think that's where it is vital to go beyond Yext. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, because the Yext is kind of a press release. I get it. So,
and I think press releases have really proliferated in the age of social media, specifically with crypto, which I'm not really involved with. I'm not really going to speak to crypto, but the ways people are pumping coins and pumping media and getting eyes on things are through these networks. And look, you could do it by pumping crypto in a coin, or you could use these channels to provide valuable AI intel or any kind of intel. The channels are there. They're just being flooded with different things, right? And having the right opportunity. And I stepped out of this game years ago. I don't do crypto press releases and all that. I just can't see fact from fiction. Whereas I do still utilize this for businesses that are relevant, valuable, and that are reputable, right? And I think that's how I stay in good standing in the network of PR, by just making sure I'm really judicious about who I'm promoting. And this is what you should look for when you're looking for someone doing PR. Like, have them show you their past work. So you can say, okay, I trust this person to really be an advocate for my business. And it's going to the right places, and it will continue to do so.
To me, it seems, I was thinking it's kind of a no-brainer because I don't know. Let's say we paid, I don't know what that amount is. Let's say it's $200-$300 for a press release and for the distribution. It seemed like it would make a lot of sense, but it didn't. I don't think it drove traffic. So
yeah,
at least in some cases it hasn't. In some cases it has. It depends on the circumstance.
Attribution models need to be set up. I use UTM codes so I can show a one-to-one correlation with spend and impression. And if I provide impressions, then you should down funnel with your business be able to say, hey, I have my funnel working properly. I know where this traffic came from. What happened to it? And then, a month later, whatever your model is, a month later, you're like, okay, I spent $300 on this. It looks like I got 5,000 worth of business from this link that came from this person, right? I think a lot of people forget to utilize these attribution models and UTM codes and track how they're spending. You could track everything. Everything can be tracked. Even influencer marketing. Yeah, influencer marketing should be tracked. And I've worked with tons of businesses that don't track and then say influencer marketing didn't work, or they're paying the same guy who's not working for them just because working for them, meaning like is not providing business, but has 1 million followers. So you have to cut through all the vanity metrics and get down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, that's important. You bring up a really good point. And you said something earlier, by the way, about testing. It's going to be my belief that we should be testing all the way along the line because we want to see what's working, what's not working for this new product. Again, AI Credit Max.
Yeah. Always be testing.
Yeah, because go ahead.
You probably have various campaigns you're running at a specific time. See which ones work, iterate from there.
We haven't. Remember, because we're a media shop, we haven't really. No, that's not true. We have Yelp.
Well, that's channel testing. I would say test within the campaigns. Run 3 different ads, see which one's working best. Test against demographics, test against all kinds of variables, right? You can do multivariate testing. And a lot of tools now also can do all the work for you. I know Optimizely I've been using for years. There's probably tons more now that are out there.
Yeah, that's huge. You're right. So channel, as you say it, isn't only the important thing. It's kind of doing within the channel, actually, because then you can really see.
Yeah, channel's easy. You could see revenue from channel. There's not much testing going on there. It's, hey, this works, this doesn't. Whereas within the channel, you test your messaging, and I think that's where it gets really interesting, and the numbers become more compelling when you get that granular.
I understand. As I mentioned, we started out a brand new website. And if we're pointing from our company, vastsolutionsgroup.com, to that vastsolutionsgroup.ai.com, it's so new. How do I get, although remember, we're getting clicks, at least now. I don't even know how, randomly, but is it wise, let me ask this, is it wise to point people to that website per se, when we I guess in hindsight, we could have made it a division of our own website or a portion of our own website? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would have preferred if you made it a portion of your old website so the traffic can amplify. But that's not to say that this new website won't get traffic. If there's a way to reverse engineer and redirect it to the site, great. I know in the past, I've had sites that had tons of traffic, and a client brought me on and said, I created a whole new website. And I said, why'd you do that? So then we merged the traffic back to the site. It's all just technical auditing and fancy ways of redirecting your site to the main domain. So the domain with the most authority is always going to show up highest in rankings, right? And that's how mergers work too. If you buy someone's website, say you buy your competitor, what you do is basically just gobbling up all their top ranking pages, the pages that get traffic, and just redirecting them to your site.
I was just about to ask you that. So yeah, but by the way, what we're also thinking about doing is also having a landing page, a portion, or in our menu navigation, having the new website, so it does also point to that website. And hold on, you brought up a good point. Do you think it ever makes sense to buy?
Yeah, I know where you're going. Yeah, and we both have a friend who's done this in the past, and it works really well.
Yeah.
If you do it the right way, and if you have the right technical team to redirect all those links to the right pages. Traffic's out there. The great thing is you don't lose traffic. A lot of people are like, oh, I have this site with tons of traffic, but I'm rebranding. They abandoned a site that got like thousands of hits a month without realizing they could have just redirected it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I hear you there. So yeah,
why would you leave a home that still has tons of rental value and just leave it on, leave it empty, or whatever? Just bring it on over. Put that into your big bucket of dough.
I look at it all, in my opinion, all a domain is, or a URL, it's just real estate. That's why I look at it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what you're looking for is passive income out of that real estate.
Yep. And there's so many ways. Even getting 2,000, 5,000 hit, it amplifies over time. I have this wellness website that I haven't touched. I just started blogging this year. I told you I'm getting even more traffic. And I was sitting there and I was like, a year later, after having not touched it, I gathered 3,000 emails just by providing someone with everybody with a free ebook when they landed on my page. Now my email list isn't like in the tens of thousands. It's crazy.
That's huge. I mean, that shows you the power.
I wasn't doing anything with it. Like, I could do all kinds of things. Again, I don't want to do anything yet. I want to be really intentional, but I have tons of people I can reach out to in the wellness space if I ever need to.
You're also a big name people. You're a big name person. That helps too. So, and we're not, because we're so media shy. We're quiet. I fully admit we were quiet. Now looking back, we shouldn't have been, but at least,
it's not too late. You're running a podcast. Might as well get on the local news, my friend.
Yeah, I know. And that reminds me, what I need to do is get more people connecting, like you, getting you to point back to our website based on the podcast as an example, because it'll show up down the road, I would think.
So I just started this new podcast, as you know, because you were my first guest. Kenner encouraged me to start it. And I like to think of my podcast as all the influential people nobody knows about because they're camera shy or they're just too busy focused on their business that they're not really out there. Last week, I interviewed my buddy Matt, who's a mentor to me as well, much like you. And he's big investment banker. He's big in gold. He lives in Switzerland. And I thought that was one of the best podcasts, second to yours, of course. But
of course.
But there's so many people that are so intelligent that are just behind the scenes. And look, they could continue to be behind the scenes, but I bet a lot of them don't know that they're more valuable than they think, which is why PR, press, podcasts, all that stuff is important.
So you want to mention where to go to listen or view your podcast?
Yeah, it's called the Do Good Pod. And again, I will provide a link when you promote this.
That'd be awesome. Speaking of promotion, so how should we promote? One last question. We have not done any podcasts about this or episodes about this new product or service. What would you suggest, well, besides this, to get the word out as far as a podcast, either that we're doing or on other people, et cetera?
I'll give you a little insight into what our friend Neil's doing. So he's launched a podcast. He's interviewing CMOs. He used to have a podcast called, or he still has a podcast called The Marketing School, where he gives any and everybody tips on how to improve their marketing and business, right? What he's doing now, and he's being more intentional with his agency because he wants, to not only inform, but to give people insight into how CMOs are operating their businesses and how they could expand their businesses, whatever, right? So he's interviewing CMOs. You should start interviewing your clients and asking them questions as to how they're using your service or product to help themselves and help others. And I think that's what people want to hear at the end of the day. Like with me, you're bringing me on because I'm providing marketing insight, right? That people don't know about. Invite someone on who's, your top case study or your top case, lack of better words, top like
case study. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. But basically, I think they'll inform your clients and your audience more than you or I can. They'll tell you how they use your product and how they found you and that journey, and then they'll be evangelists for you.
Yeah, I need to get that on our website very quickly for this new thing, this Vast Solutions Group, AI.com.
On top of being evangelists for you, they'll probably tell you what they don't like about your product, and you can iterate quickly because it's not all going to be rosy. I hope not. I hope that when you're interviewing someone and you're asking how they like your product or service, you at least hear something that's feedback that, hey, I don't like this, or what can we do here? That's the only way you're going to grow, right? I love hearing feedback myself, too.
That's the reason we're in beta, because it's going to take a while for this to really hit it. I know it will, but I know it's going to hit it because, why wouldn't? There's so many people who know that we've been doing artificial intelligence for years. They know that we're doing tax credits for ourselves and now for clients more so. So, I know it's going to be a hit, and I agree, they're going to tell people at the same time. They will give us feedback, hence the reason we're in beta, because we want this thing to grow. And the only way we could do it is by getting the feedback, really, if you think about it.
You're doing surveys in real time.
No, 100%. Yep. All right, so let's get ready to land this plane. What's one, kind of in closing, what's something we have not talked about yet that you think can help either us with AI Credit Max or maybe some other listeners or viewers out there who are trying to, launch a new product, a new service, or maybe even their own business?
I don't think we talked about YouTube, and I think that falls in hand with podcast, but podcast is like more one-to-one conversation and, you're listening intently. I think focusing on a video strategy that highlights the benefits of your product or service in real time, right? So say you're working with a manufacturer who has a warehouse and they use your product and it really has helped them reduce their tax liability. Highlight their business. Have other people see how great of a business they are too. You're amplifying your audience. You're rewarding them for using your product or service. And it's fun to find out how companies even do their taxes. I'm sure you'll learn a lot of intel. Like, I don't know how a manufacturer does taxes. I don't know how they reduce their liability if they're importing and exporting goods. Like all kinds of nuances, I think, that a YouTube page can help. Or any kind of long form video can help like inform your audience. And I think by watching that, someone else will be like, hey, I have the same business. I could do all those things as well.
Do you think we should do long form? You mentioned long form. Do you think we should do long form or do the shorts? Because we do have our podcast going to our YouTube, but although not very many people go there, I don't think, although we just had a couple big ones, but which one works? Long form, short form, etc.
Test it out. Do both.
Test. Yeah. Test. That goes back to test.
Yeah, I can't tell you. Maybe a 10-second clip works better than an hour clip, or, there's a happy medium in between there,
Yeah.
Obviously not 10 seconds, but you get my point.
I know, I get your point. Okay. In closing, anything else? Wait a minute. One last time, how do people get a hold of you if they're interested in picking that huge brand of yours, which they've seen that you're totally adding value?
Yeah, Do Good Digital, DOGOODIGITAL.com. My email, personal email, just for your audience, D as in dog, B as in boy, Patel83@gmail.com. DB Patel83@gmail. And you're going to put it down there anyways. So
yeah, we are. Yeah, dude, this has been helpful. This has been helpful. That hopefully people have seen with their own eyes, you thinking like basically on your feet. You truly have thought on your feet. And I do appreciate it. I know it's hard because I said I wasn't going to, I like to see people think on their feet, see what they're like, add value to us, have a communication where it's very casual. I think it's
just for your audience, Kenner, I hopped on this call, and prior to the call, I said, what are we going to talk about? And Kenner said, you'll see. So he's keeping me on my toes.
That's exactly right. Because it's true organic conversation, and people can see, oh, Dhaval knows what's going on. Dhaval's a stud, you know what I mean? And plus then it's very casual. I love hanging out with you. You're an awesome dude, and people can see and hear, taste what it is we're going through here at vastsolutionsgroup.com. So anyway, once again, I do appreciate it. For everyone out there watching, listening, I really appreciate you taking the time. Once again, this is Kenner French, vastsolutionsgroup.com. You're watching and listening. Vast Voices, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.